One of the state's biggest papers, the Wisconsin State Journal, reports early indications in Madison suggest the number of voters could rival those in a presidential election. Officials expect between 60 and 65% of voters will turn out. That is higher than in 2010, but short of the 70% that turned out 4 years ago. Joining me now, Graham Zielinski, Communications Director for the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Graham, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me, Tamara.
There's at least one headline out today claiming that Democrats in the state are crying foul. That was the headline because the Milwaukee Democratic Party says that there are calls going out to voters telling them if they'd signed the recall that they did not need to vote today. Do you know anything about that?
Sure. We've had reports from all corners of the state, not just Milwaukee, but places north, south, east, and west, that these robocalls have gone out. And given the kind of dirty tricks that Republicans have pulled the last couple of years under Scott Walker, we are going to closely monitor it to make sure that everybody's votes counted. The good news is everything else is going smoothly, it looks like. There are really high turnouts, and that's very good for our side.
The state GOP source was quoted in this saying that this claim of robocalls trying to discourage people basically is because Democrats are crying foul, and they're the ones who are expecting this playbook. It's just that they're making this up, the bottom line here. Forgive me for stumbling through the note here. But the bottom line is the GOP says this is not the case, that these robocalls are not going out there and there's not a problem here.
Well, in Scott Walker's Wisconsin, you just can't take anybody's word for it. This is a governor who thought about putting troublemakers and otherwise peaceful crowds. This is a governor with a criminal defense fund who may be before the grand jury today, or his lawyers may be before the grand jury today. So we don't trust Republicans at their word under Scott Walker, but we have a good turnout operation. We're confident that we're going to get our voters to the poll and that we will prevail tonight.
You've talked a lot about, Graham, the ground game in your state. We know that the governor there outspent his challenger 8-1. A lot of money coming from Koch brothers from outside of the state here. There's a lot certainly that we can discuss here, but the reality is nationally you have so many people who are engaged around the country for this race. They're looking for signs perhaps of an indicator for what we might see come November when certainly we vote for the next person or the person who's currently in the White House to stay there.
Well, I don't know about the D.C. parlor games, and we have been badly outspent, but the great news is that today's race is not going to be decided by Koch brothers money. It's not going to be decided by Club for Growth money. Today's race is finally going to be decided by Wisconsinites, people from right here in Wisconsin who understand Wisconsin's values and that we need to come together. We don't need divide and conquer values. And I think that's why you're going to see Mayor Barrett prevail tonight.
Why is the race so close at this point? We know that early on Governor Walker was ahead at least 7 points in one of the last polls at the end of the week. It's closer now, but when you look early on, Graham, at some of those images that came from the Capitol with the protesters in the cold, in the rain, really passionate and ready to take on this governor, why is it so close now?
Well, the proof is that we'll be in the pudding tonight. We're going to know real shortly, and the early turnout suggests a good night for us. But Scott Walker, we've absorbed a $50, $60, $70 million punch from Scott Walker. He immediately came in here with this out-of-state corporate agenda and had an army, an instant army of corporate cash behind him selling these reforms. He tells people that we've lost jobs. We lead the nation in job loss. We lead the Midwest in job loss. He says he's a man of integrity. He's got a criminal defense fund. So he uses these tools available to him by the Koch brothers and all these groups that are trying to buy Wisconsin. And if they can buy Wisconsin, they can buy anywhere. So people have been inundated with Scott Walker ruling the air. The good news is we rule the ground, and our ground game is going to prove that today.
Graham Zielinski, thank you very much, Communications Director for the Wisconsin Democratic Party. Thank you.